Welcome to the School of Love, the place where miracles are normal. Hello and welcome to the School of Love, the place where we learn practical tools based on scientific research towards improving ourselves, living life to its fullest, and contributing to the best of our abilities to the world around us. I am Dr. Maria Grajdian, and I am a professor of media studies and anthropology at Hiroshima University. In my free time, I am doing my best to guide you in building up a life of contentment, joy, and fulfillment while applying lessons learned in school to overcome the difficulties, challenges, and insecurities of the real world. In today's video, I talk about letting go, one of my favorite topics. I include this topic in the series Things I Wish I Knew When I Was Younger, which includes small videos on precisely that very topic, which refers to very practical tips, tools, and tactics which would have helped me tremendously when I was younger than today and much, much less experienced. These are ideas which I wish someone more mature than myself would have told me, not even explained to me, just told me that they exist, so that I become aware of a different way to look at the world. So, talking about awareness, this is in fact the first step in the 5 steps I'm explaining in this video after I deliver a definition of letting go, so that at the end of the video you will have a clear protocol on how letting go and moving forward in life actually functions. And now, first things first, that is 2 important disclaimers. The first disclaimer serves to strongly emphasize the fact that this YouTube channel, The School of Love, is not part of my educational and research activities at Hiroshima University. It is nonetheless part of my privilege, joy, and sense of duty to propagate and implement knowledge, information, as well as motivation and inspiration outside the limited framework of academic endeavors. Together, we can build up a better tomorrow for as many of us as possible. The second disclaimer relates to the fact that I'm a trained musician and musicologist, not a psychologist, therapist, or counselor. The ideas I'm sharing in my videos reflect my deep-going preoccupation with life, my own life and other people's lives, and expresses the results of my experiences, research, and for better or for worse, my failures, as well as my recovery from those failures, recovery which is continuously ongoing. The idea expressed in the videos on this channel named The School of Love cannot and may not and must not replace the consultation with specialists in whichever areas of your life you might have questions or you might struggle with. If you are new to this channel, at this moment I would like to ask you to please consider subscribing, sharing, liking, commenting. Thank you very, very much. This helps us not only with that mysterious algorithm which seems to dominate the YouTube galaxy, but also with contributing to the expansion of the community of humans doing their best to impact positively the world and those around them by discovering their authentic selves and living life wholeheartedly. Thanks again. And now back to today's topic, which is letting go. And as I have promised, I will start with a definition and some signs how to recognize it and some reasons of why it is important to learn the skill and the art of letting go. And then I'll deliver 5 steps, what may say simple but not easy, in how to achieve this ability to let go in a more organic manner, so that doesn't feel like an additional task to your probably already very crowded everyday life. So what is letting go? Letting go is this ability to move away from something which is obsessing you or something which is bothering you, allow it to exist outside of immediate awareness, outside of your immediate focus. So it's about not trying to control what's going on around you, but actually taking back some control over how you react to what is going on around you. This is my definition of letting go. And letting go of all of things which bother us, not in the meaning that we stop caring about them, like it's not about becoming robots, yeah? But it's about learning how to defocus, how to allow things to happen, even things which bother us, without getting continuously distracted about them, and how to learning to allow them to happen, to exist while we go on with our lives. This is a very important skill because we live such long lives, and when we live such long lives, things are going to go their own way, and which is a way which maybe we do not necessarily like. And learning this skill, for instance, all of us will have at some point, for instance, breakups, or we'll have problems at work, and we'll have to either live with the problems or change jobs. And learning to let go means we do not allow circumstances to control our emotions, our thoughts, our to a certain degree our actions, but actually we decide how we react to them. We take back control over our own inner world, and we do not allow external events to shape them. This is why letting go is so important, at least in my opinion. And I have already, and how to recognize the necessity to that letting go is necessary. Well, when you start obsessing over things which you cannot control, for instance, what other people are doing, what other people are feeling, how other people treat you. When you start to obsess about this, and when you start to try to develop strategies to control their reactions towards you or their actions towards you, this is a sure sign that you have to learn to let go, and so that you can let go in itself. And the reasons for the necessity of letting go is actually the reasons why we cannot let go. This comes usually from childhood. We all have this problem. I don't believe there is anyone who has come out of childhood, so all of us, we have had some sort of childhood, and who doesn't carry to some degree this urge to control life. It comes from, so in childhood we essentially have no ability to control what's going on around us, and we are totally dependent on others, particularly on our parents or caregivers. And from there, so there's the reaction of our little selves is to try to develop as much control over the environment and over what's happening to us as we grow older. This is, of course, and because this gives us a specific impression that we can control our life. The fact is, we cannot really control what's going on. No, actually, we cannot control what's going on around us. We cannot control what other people are doing. We cannot control what other people are thinking, but we can control how we react to those things. We can control how much of our mental and emotional space we allow external events to be bothered by external events. And this is what letting go is all about. Letting go is about taking control over, again, or for the first time, over your internal space, mental and emotional, spiritual, if you want, intellectual, if you want, and then observing what's going on outside of you with this healthy sense of detachment, so that you can take good decisions in how to deal with what's coming your way. And I have already suggested that the first step is awareness, becoming aware that this is something which might be a solution. And letting go is actually a solution, again, to many of our problems. I talk about like overthinking and self-sabotaging and lying. These are all strategies which allow us, give us the illusion. Yeah, it's not true. The illusion that we can, at least to some degree, control what's going on around us. We cannot. Yeah, flash news. We cannot. We can control how we react to what's going on in our lives, but we cannot control what's going on in our lives. So the first step is develop awareness, and a healthy sense of awareness is asking yourself such simple questions: like, why am I doing this? Why am I here in this place? Why have I been born? Why have I come into this beautiful world? What can I do to make it even better than it already is? Why am I thinking specific things? So asking yourself questions, and why questions are usually very, very healthy questions. You don't even have to have all the answers. Most of the time we don't. But asking those questions and leading those questions towards your subconscious will give you in time, actually, if you allow it to go deeply into your subconscious, you'll have some sort of answers very soon. Then the second step is identify the trigger. What I mean by this, identify what makes you stick to the thing which you actually want to let go, or which is necessary and healthy to let go. What keeps you stuck to it? Why are you obsessed with a specific issue and you cannot just move your mind away, or your emotions away from that? What that keeps you stuck? So find out the element, the trigger, which keeps you there, and that, so that in a third step you can also identify the payoff. It's not always, it's always so. We have something which keeps us stuck there because there is some sort of reward, there's some sort of fulfillment or satisfaction, momentarily satisfaction we get from sticking with that element. So it's, on one hand, we feel triggered and we feel like reacting in a specific way to whatever circumstance in our lives or persons in our life which make us feel both uncomfortable and, to a certain degree, actually we are very attracted to that. So every time there is something which obsesses us, it is on one hand toxic or bad, and we know this, but at the same time it gives us a feeling of validation, maybe, of well, I'm better than that, or I'm better than them, that's why you stick around. So identifying this, these are two sides of the same coin, which is this obsession and overthinking on the issue. And the number 4 is to find healthy ways to deal with those triggers and with the lack of reward. Because once you find out a healthy way to deal with the trigger, or with the person, or the emotion, or the event which keeps you stuck, you won't have the reward. And that is actually more dangerous than the trigger itself, because you can rationally decide, I'm not going to allow myself to be triggered by this person or by this event, but the lack of reward which actually came from allowing yourself to get triggered will force you into finding some very unhealthy way, usually unhealthy ways of coping with the lack of reward. So the idea is that we decide upon a protocol, upon some actions which counter the trigger and also which replace the lack of reward coming from you sticking with the trigger. And you have to do this before the trigger occurs. Most of us will say, oh, I can control myself. Yes, you can. But you can do it when you're at your best, when you have slept well, when you have eaten a nice meal, when you had nice conversations and a bright day. But most of us don't live at our best, like most of the time. Let's be honest. So in that case, you need, before anything happens, and it will happen, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when, you have to know in advance when. So when I meet this person, or when I see this event, or when I see this piece of news, I don't do what I usually do. I do something else. Let's say because a classical example is, let's say you break up with someone and that person still keeps in touch with you continuously. The idea is, and you reply every time, you promise yourself, I will not reply anymore, and still you do it every time. Or maybe not every time, and not immediately, but you still do it, let's say a couple of hours or a couple of days later. So you still fall into it because at some point you feel lonely, or you feel hungry, or you feel angry, whatever. So the idea is to establish in advance, when this person texts me or contacts me, I contact my mother, or I contact my best friend, and the energy, some sort of energy which comes from replying to that X, I'm getting some sort of validation and accountability from the person I'm writing instead, and who is a normal person who supports and loves me. And if you decide this in advance, when the trigger occurs, so let's say when the X writes to you, you will say, oh, I have that protocol, I have that solution. You grab to it, and the idea is to extend the the to allow the initial trigger and the initial lack of reward disappear, and this happens with a little bit of time. Dr. Lemke in the book The Dopamine Nation explains this very well. So the idea is, in order to avoid this dopamine spike and the dopamine crash, and in order to do that, you just have to wait. But sometimes waiting, so doing nothing, feels more excruciating than do something wrong, and something we know is wrong. So in that case, we have to have in advance some alternative prepared, so that when the shit hits the fan, when the triggering event happens, we already know and we already have the plan and we do it. And the last step is develop gratitude. Develop gratitude towards the bad habits you have had, because they have allowed you to move forward in life. Develop gratitude even towards the persons who have wronged you. We've all been there. There are persons who have wronged us. We have wronged other persons. Nobody's perfect. We are not angels. And even if we were angels, even angels do mistakes. So develop gratitude towards the fact that you are here and you had the opportunity to learn, and you had the opportunity to grow as a person. And who knows what comes down the road. And you will be able to serve maybe as a model and as a teacher to those around you. So that would be for today. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'm, as always, looking forward to welcoming you very soon again. Love and peace to you all.